Welcome, and thank you so much for joining our webinar presentation. This month, we're taking a look at the two-way GDS interfaces offered with RoomKeyPMS. So for our webinar presentation today, we'll start with an introduction. Then we'll dive right into our topic and define what is a GDS interface. We'll look at how to set up two-way GDS interfaces. We'll also take a look at how to manage packages with these interfaces, as well as group blocks. Then we'll talk about when you can start using these tools that we'll demonstrate throughout the presentation, and we'll wrap it all up with a summary and Q&A. So our introductions for today, my name is Tasha LeClaire. I'm a trainer and implementation specialist with RoomKey. Joining me today, I do have our Director of Customer Experience, Mr. William Tam. Now I'll be leading today's presentation and demonstrations on screen, and William will be overseeing the chat and Q&A functions inside the Zoom webinar. So if you do have any questions as we go through this webinar presentation, feel free to click the Q&A button in the Zoom presentation to ask your questions. William will be able to answer those as we go through the presentation, and anything that is not answered will be addressed during our Q&A at the end as well. A couple more things about today's presentation. Our webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the recording will be made available on our support website later this week. For those of you joining our live presentation today, you will receive a webinar survey at the end of our presentation. We do appreciate any feedback you can offer on that survey, and if you have any suggestions for future topics, we're happy to take a look at those as well. Speaking of future webinar presentations and topics, I'm happy to announce that our next webinar will be covering another type of interface, this time our keycard interfaces, and some of the advancements we've been making with those tools as well. So to get started with today, let's take a look at defining what is a GDS interface. Now, GDS is an acronym. I'm going to use a more narrow definition as it relates to RoomKeyPMS and specifically a GDS interface. So for our purposes today, a GDS interface is a global distribution system interface that allows you to place your hotel's information, availability, and rates in prominent locations online. That means that it's interfacing or working with a third party. And those prominent locations online refer to places where your guests can find your hotel, review the hotel information, your availability, and actually book a reservation using a rate that you distribute. So what this looks like for today's presentation is communication between RoomKey via a GDS interface, and you're connecting with those prominent locations online, like online travel agents. That could be booking.com or Expedia. It could be a live travel agent, or it could also be a corporate travel agent. Now, as far as this GDS interface tool goes, our developers actually work in partnership with a connectivity partner. And the ones that we'll be looking at today are the Vertical Booking, iHotelier TravelClick, and SynXis. Now, if you're used to defining a GDS with terms like Amadeus, Galileo, or Sabre, you might be wondering where those terms fit in as we talk about these connectivity partners. And I'll let you know that those are specific GDS. And for the Sabre GDS, they use the SynXis platform. Amadeus uses the TravelClick iHotelier platform. And Vertical Booking actually connects to both Amadeus, Sabre, as well as Galileo or Travelport, recently rebranded or purchased, and Vertical Booking also connects with WorldSpan. So as we go through the presentation today, we'll be talking about these specific connectivity partners: Vertical Booking, iHotelier TravelClick, and SynXis. So let's take a look at the setup for these types of two-way GDS interfaces. Now, like I said, our developers have been working with these connectivity partners. We have a vertical booking standard two-way, and if you are already a client with using RoomKeyPMS with one of these connectivity partners like iHotelier, TravelClink, or SynXis, you may already be familiar with those platforms. But our developers have made some improvements to these connections. And what we are now able to connect to with respect to these two are the iHotelier Advanced platform and the SynXis Enhanced platform. So that's what we'll be specifically looking at for today's. Now, if you're interested in upgrading or modifying your GDS status from the standard two-way to one of these advanced or enhanced products, you can reach out to us directly and we'd be happy to help you along the way with that. And I will include our contact information at the end. Once you have purchased these products and you've set up an account with one of our connectivity partners here, to set up the integration or interface with RoomKey, we'll start with the room type integration. And the first step is actually included as part of your account setup with the connectivity partner, and you're going to create the room types in your GDS portal. So if you're using vertical booking as your partner, when you sign up and create your account, you'll also walk through creating your room types on that GDS portal. Now, the second step is in RoomKey, you can actually complete the integration from our room inventory module. Now I have a database here that I'll pull up on screen and we'll look at this together. So in RoomKey, you're going to go to System Configuration and select Room Inventory. When the module opens up, there's a GDS tab that you can select, and you can click the Linking tab. To complete the integration, here in RoomKey, you'll click the Add button on the right-hand side, and now you can enter in, you can use these fields in the lower left-hand corner to complete the integration. So we'll start with a room type in RoomKey. This is the SQQ room type, so I'll select that from the list. I'll select my GDS connectivity partner. In this case, I'll use vertical booking as the example. And then I'll enter in the GDS room code exactly as I've set it up in vertical booking GDS portal. Now, I like to recommend setting up those room types in your portal with the exact same room codes you have established in RoomKey, because it makes this setup really easy. You just type in the same room code here and click Post. Now, the nice thing about this integration in RoomKey is that you don't need to flip between the different room types. You can actually do all of your room type integration setup directly here by repeating that process. Click the Add button, select the room type. This time I'll use my SK room type. Select your connectivity partner, this time vertical booking. And once again, type in the GDS room code exactly as you set it up on your GDS portal and click Post. So you'll complete that for all the room types that you'll be selling through your GDS portal. Heading back to our presentation for today, the next thing that you'll look at doing is setting up your rate type or rate plan integration. Now, this is also the same process regardless of the type of connectivity partner you're using. Your first step will be to create your rate plans in your GDS portal. And again, that'll be part of your initial account setup when you sign up with one of these connectivity partners. Once you've created your rate plans on your GDS portal, the next thing you'll do is in RoomKey, you'll complete the integration using the rate wizard. Now, a couple things to note. When you open up the rate wizard, you will see a new button called Integration Mapping. And as we go through and complete the integration, want to remind you that you need to match the rate code, market segment, and client type as we go through this setup. So let's take a look at that in RoomKey as well. Pull up my demo database again, and this time I'm going to go to System Configuration and Rate Wizard. Here in the Rate Wizard, you'll see a list of all of your rate plans with the rate name listed in the first column and the rate code appearing in the second column. Now, if you have a Rate Wizard where rates appear without a rate code, you will need to add in a rate code for each of your rate plans. To do that, you will use the Edit button, the pen and paper symbol in the lower left-hand corner. You can edit your rate code in the rate code field and add a rate code to any that are missing. Now, while we're here as well, I want to note the market segment that is attached for each of these rate plans. This must be the same market segment that is attached to the rate plans that you build in your GDS portal. So once you have ensured that all of your rate plans have a rate code, and you verified or confirmed the market segment that is selected for each of those as you build those plans in the GDS portal, you can then click the Integration Mapping button. This appears at the bottom of the Rate Wizard, and when it opens up, this will give you a pop-up that will allow you to map all of the rates that are distributed to the GDS channel. So you'll notice that this list may be smaller than the list of all rate plans built in the Rate Wizard. And that's because this list in the Integration Mapping window will only show rates that are distributed to the GDS channel. So in this case, I do see the best available rate appears here in the pop-up, but my best available rate for monthly and weekly billing do not appear because those are not distributed to the GDS channel. So to complete the mapping for these rate plans, in the top left corner, you'll select your integration partner. In this case, I'll use iHotelier as the example. And then in the client type field, you'll select the client type exactly as it is connected in the Rate Wizard. So for this example, my best available rate is connected to my leisure client type. And you'll go through and do that for each of the client type, each of the rate plans that are listed here. Now, as you get to any rate plans that are distributed through a third party that may have an OTA or online travel agent client type, these may also have a corporate account attached. So when I select the OTA Hotel Collect client type for my Booking.com rate, you'll notice that I now have the ability to also select the attached corporate account. In this case, I know that the account that is attached is my Booking.com corporate account. So you'll do that for all applicable rate plans as well. Now you may have different corporate accounts that you select. So for example, with my Expedia prepaid prepaid rate plan, I would select the OTA prepaid client type. And for my corporate account, I'll select the Expedia prepaid corporate account. So you need to make sure that all of your rate plans here are connected with a client type and a corporate account if applicable. Once you've gone through your entire list here, you would click Update Integrations, and that will save the integration mapping for you. So back to our presentation here, that would be the completion of setting up the rate plan integration. And it is the same for all of our connectivity partners, but let's now take a look at what differences you may encounter between these different connectivity partners. So the first difference that we do have with these different interfaces is how many rate plans you need to build on each platform. So for vertical booking, you will need to create all of your GDS distributed rate plans in the GDS portal. That means all of the rate plans that appear in RoomKey with a check mark in the GDS column, you'll need to build those as rate plans on your GDS portal as your first step. And then, of course, step number 2 would be to complete the integration inside RoomKey in the Rate Wizard. Now for iHotelier Advanced, you will actually create all rate plans. So regardless if they say distributed to GDS or not, all of the rate plans that are active in your Rate Wizard in RoomKey, you will create all of those in your GDS portal, and you will also create a rate plan called Manual that will correspond with the default manual setting in RoomKey. Now for SynXis, there's a little bit of a twist with this one. Similar to vertical booking, you will create all GDS distributed rate plans in your GDS portal, meaning, but with the exception, SynXis has this tool called ResSync Rates, and this will actually automatically create a new rate plan with the first booking or first reservation. So what this means is that when you create all of your GDS distributed rates in your SynXis GDS portal, if you have a rate that is created in RoomKey but not SynXis, and you make a reservation, that rate plan will now appear inside SynXis due to the ResSync Rates feature. So I do still recommend that you create all rate plans, but if there's a rate plan that you miss when setting up your SynXis, as soon as you receive a reservation or make a reservation in RoomKey, that rate plan will now appear on the SynXis platform. The next thing that you might wonder about with regards to these rates is if you can use overbooking. That means that can you overbook your hotel or purposely overbook your hotel? That may not be applicable to every property, but for some city center locations, you may wish to oversell or overbook your property or a certain room type. And I'll let you know, for all 3 of these connectivity partners, you can use the overbooking limits tool inside RoomKey to overbook your property. So another question that you might be looking at as we're talking about these different connectivity partners is if you can restrict a rate. Now, the term restrict or restrictions doesn't really appear in the RoomKey software, but what it refers to is any close or close to arrival or length of stay restrictions. I'll show you where those appear here in RoomKey. When you open the Rate Wizard, so that is found in System Configuration, and the Rate Wizard will open up. When you click the Next button in the bottom right-hand corner, that will show you a rate grid in the lower half of the screen here, and you have the ability to close or close to arrival or set a minimum or maximum length of stay for this rate plan on a specific date or range of dates. And those refer to these restrictions that appear in boxes in the screen. So for example, if I wanted to close a rate, I would select my rate plan or my date from and my date to. I can select close as a restriction and apply that to the rate calendar below here in the Rate Wizard. Now for our presentation purposes, those three types of restrictions. They are available with vertical booking, with the exception of maximum length of stay. So you can close a rate and that will communicate to vertical booking platform. You can set a close to arrival restriction, preventing a guest from arriving on a specific day, or you can set a minimum length of stay on arrival, and that will communicate to vertical booking as well. But the maximum length of stay, that is not compatible with the vertical booking platform. Now, for the other two connectivity partners, iHotelier Advanced and SynXis Enhanced, yes, you do have the ability to do all three restrictions, including minimum, maximum length of stay. And we do actually have a little bit extra with the SynXis Enhanced connectivity partner. If you are working with any RMS or rate management software, such as Ideas or Duetto, that are connected with RoomKey, you have a tool called Hurdle Rates available on Ideas and Duetto. Now, RoomKey does not have hurdle rate settings inside RoomKey itself, but we do support those messages being communicated from RMS to the SynXis Enhanced platform. So we do transmit those messages and pass them along to SynXis Enhanced. So speaking of some of these restrictions, we've talked about the restrictions that you can apply to a rate plan when it relates to these different connectivity partners. But you may be wondering if you can close a room type, meaning if you are getting close to selling out of a particular room type and you'd like to close off your inventory, wondering how you might be able to do that. And for vertical booking and iHotelier Advanced, this is not possible in RoomKey. So the workaround that I might recommend in those cases is to create a test or dummy reservation to consume that inventory in RoomKey immediately and allow you to hold that aside if you needed to, if that's your last room and you want to hold that aside for any emergencies. Now for SynXis Enhanced, you actually do have the ability to close a room type in RoomKey, and you would use the room inventory tool. So let me show you where that is in RoomKey. Back in our RoomKeyPMS database, I'm going to go to System Configuration and Room Inventory. When this opens up on screen, I can go directly to the GDS tab. And here on the Closeouts tab, this is where I can close out a specific room type. So here I've automatically selected on the SQQ room type. And if I want to close that for tonight, I can select my date from today, my date to as today, and I can click Add. And that will now close out that room type today. So no more inventory will be pushed to the SynXis Enhanced platform. So heading back to our presentation, that gives you a bit more of an overview of some of those restrictions as well as the ability to close out a room type. Now, a few more things that you might want to know about with regards to the setup. Here we have our next question is with regards to any add-ons. So we've looked at how to set up the room type integration and the rate plan integration. Now, if your property also sells items or includes items in bookings such as maybe a pet fee or a parking charge, in RoomKey, you may already be familiar with the term guest services. We use the term guest services in RoomKey to refer to any add-ons or any services that are in addition to the nightly accommodation while a guest is in-house. Now, in RoomKey, we can have chargeable or non-chargeable guest services. They are all called just a guest service, and they are set up in guest services module. So here in RoomKey, you would find them in the System Configuration menu under the Guest Services module. Now, guest services will be listed here as they are active. And like I said, we can have guest services that have a charge, so they will be transaction based, and it'll list the transaction and the rate or nightly price there. We also have the ability to set up guest services that are non-chargeable. So in the example here with a guest that might request a high floor, that is not a chargeable request. So there's no fee associated with requesting that. So it is not transaction-based. These fields are blank in the guest services area. So when we're looking to integrate these with our connectivity partners, I just wanted to establish some of the verbiage that these partners use because it's all different across all three of these. So for vertical booking, guest services that are chargeable are called services on the vertical booking platform. Non-chargeable guest services are just called amenities. For iHotelier Advanced, chargeable guest services are called enhancements, and the non-chargeable guest services are called special requests. And lastly, for SynXis Enhanced, those chargeable guest services are actually called dynamic packages, and the non-chargeable guest services are called room requests. Now, I always get a little bit of questions here because of the way that SynXis calls their chargeable guest services. They call them dynamic packages. I just want to confirm that if you build anything as a dynamic package in SynXis Enhanced platform, that is not a package in RoomKey. It corresponds to our chargeable guest services. Yeah. So I always like to just make sure we're all on the same page with those clear definitions or verbiage here. So regardless of what type of guest services you're offering, you want to make sure that you're building those correctly on your connectivity partner on your GDS portal. So the setup for guest services, we don't actually have any setup in RoomKey that would link these to the corresponding item on the GDS platform. So what you'll actually do for all three of these connectivity partners is you're going to create all of your guest service, all of the guest services that are created in RoomKey, you'll create those on your GDS platform or portal. You want to pay particular attention to how the repeat pattern and pricing is set up in RoomKey so that you can match those in your GDS portal as well. So if you have a pet fee that is $10 per night, you want to make sure that you're setting up that repeatable pattern per night and the same pricing, which is $10. Now, I just want to make a little note here about the SynXis Enhanced platform. That connectivity partner does offer a per child, adult, or senior pricing, but we don't support that with RoomKey. So as you're building your dynamic packages in SynXis, make sure that you are not setting up anything with per child, per adult, or per senior pricing, because those do not correspond to anything in RoomKey. So now that we have looked at the setup of a two-way GDS interface, let's take a look at a little more detail about packages. Now we know that dynamic packages are not packages in RoomKey, so we're actually going to talk about those real packages that we have set up in RoomKey using our inclusions and packages module. So the package integration steps that you would follow are the same for all three of these connectivity partners. You will start with creating packages on your GDS portal. And then your second step is in RoomKey. And it's actually very similar to the setup of the rate plan integration. So you'll use the same tool, the rate wizard, and the integration mapping button. And again, just a reminder that you want to make sure that the rate code, market segment, and client type all match as well. So let me show you what this looks like in a RoomKey database. I have a test database here, and you'll go to System Configuration, Rate Wizard. In the Rate Wizard, you will go to Integration Mapping. Now, specifically with packages, you'll see the package rate name listed here and the corresponding package rate code. So in this case, I have a bed and breakfast package. I see the rate code, and I can see the attached package that is set up in my inclusions and packages module in RoomKey. Now, if you're not too sure how to create a package or an inclusion package in RoomKey, we do have a really great webinar series that was done last year that I will link to in my follow-up email. So you can check that out on how to build packages and inclusion packages inside RoomKey. But this is an inclusion package or a bed and breakfast package that has been set up. And I know that it's an inclusion package because there's the letter I in this type field. If this was a package, it would have the letter P. Now, very similar to how I set up the rate plan integration, I would select the client type that is attached to this package, which I know is my leisure independent. And then I can click the Update Integrations button. Now, if this package was distributed to a client type that has a corporate function, the corporate field would enable and allow me to select the corporate account. Again, very similar to what we saw with the rate plan integration setup. But once you click Update Integrations, this now completes the package integration for your connectivity partner. So heading back to our presentation, that was a demonstration of step number 2 there. So even though the package integration setup is the same for all 3 connectivity partners, there are some differences and limitations in how packages are managed across these 3 providers. So let's take a look at some of those differences here. And the first thing that we'll look at that does differ between these different connectivity partners is how many packages will you build on your GDS portal. So for vertical booking, all GDS distributed packages must be created in the GDS portal. Again, very similar to the rate plan integration, if there is a checkmark in the GDS column, you will need to create that rate plan or that rate plan package in your vertical booking portal. Now for iHotelier Advanced and SynXis Enhanced, there are some differences here. Now, for these 2 connectivity partners, you will only create your inclusion packages. That means any packages that repeat the same components each and every day throughout the guest stay. So in RoomKey, if you've created any packages, those will not be able to be connected to your iHotelier Advanced or SynXis Enhanced connectivity partners. The other limitation that we do have with these 2 is if you have any packages that have components with variable taxes, those are not supported in RoomKey. And what that means is that you might have a package, a bed and breakfast package that includes breakfast and parking each night. Now, the breakfast may have GST and PST taxes, but the parking may be tax exempt. Because the tax rates vary between those 2 components, the breakfast charge and the parking charge, that is considered variable taxes, and those are not supported in RoomKey. So you would not be able to set those up on your and sell those through your iHotelier Advanced or SynXis Enhanced platforms. So a couple more things about pricing. You may wonder, how do you change the price for any of these packages or how that flow works? And for vertical booking and SynXis, the base rates are connected. So as the base rate price fluctuates in the rate wizard in RoomKey, those base rate prices will also fluctuate on those two platforms. But if you are changing the price of a component, let's say the breakfast charge or the parking charge, you will need to change the price of those components on the GDS portal themselves. So that's for vertical booking and the SynXis Enhanced. Now for iHotelier Advanced, you do not have any price changing capability in RoomKey. Anytime you need to change the price, the full package price needs to be changed in the GDS portal. So you would need to log into your iHotelier Advanced portal and either change the base rate price or the component price directly on that portal. So a couple things to keep in mind as you're looking at using these connectivity partners. If you are a hotel that does use packages or packages for your rates. The next thing that I want to take a look at for these connectivity partners is how to manage group blocks. And when we talk about group block integration, I will let you know that vertical booking does not support group blocks. So if you are a hotel that offers group reservations and vertical booking is your connectivity partner, those group guests will need to contact your hotel directly to make bookings. They would not be able to use any of the vertical booking distribution tools. So they wouldn't be able to connect through vertical booking. They would have to contact your hotel directly in order to book a group reservation. But with iHotelier Advanced and SynXis Enhanced, they do support group blocks. So in order to set those up, it's actually pretty straightforward. With iHotelier Advanced, you would simply create the group in RoomKey, and then the group will appear in your iHotelier Advanced portal. And when you're looking at that group in the portal itself, the GDS portal, you'll notice that the block code in RoomKey will correspond to the group code in iHotelier. Now, when it comes to SynXis Enhanced, the first step is the exact same. You'll create the group in RoomKeyPMS, and that group information is automatically pushed up to SynXis Enhanced, so you can log into SynXis and you'll see that group created there. But there is a second step in order to enable that to be distributed through your partners in SynXis Enhanced. You need to enable those distribution channels. So that could be your booking engine, or it could be voice booking. And you'll actually set that up in your SynXis GDS portal using the group configuration assignment tool. So really quick way to create those group blocks in iHotelier Advanced and SynXis Enhanced. Now, because groups can be so customizable, there may be some additional questions you have as you're looking to manage these on these two connectivity partners. One of the first questions that we always get is how do cutoff dates work? So in RoomKey, you can set up a cutoff date when you create your group. That means that rooms will be released if they are not booked by a certain date before the group arrival date. Now, when it comes to iHotelier Advanced, you'll notice that when you view the group on that GDS portal, the cutoff date will actually be equal to the first block date or the arrival date for that group. And just a side note for these groups, whenever you create them in RoomKey, if you use pre-arrival or post-departure dates, those do not translate over to iHotelier Advanced or SynXis. So by default, if you have a pre-arrival date, that will just correspond to the arrival date in iHotelier or SynXis. And same thing with the post-departure. Your final post-departure date will be the actual group departure date in those platforms. Now, when it comes to those cutoff dates for iHotelier, it may look a little bit jarring. So, for example, if your group arrival date is June 15th, but you have a cutoff date in RoomKey set up as June 1st. When you view that group in your iHotelier GDS portal, the cutoff date will say June 15th. But this is because the block is actually released by RoomKey. So RoomKey is the one who is triggering the release of those rooms. So as of the cutoff date in RoomKey, June 1st, any rooms that are not booked or picked up for that block will automatically be released. So even in iHotelier, if a guest tries to book after June 1st, there would be no inventory available. They would have to contact the hotel directly to book. Now, in SynXis Enhanced, things are a little more straightforward with cutoff dates because whatever cutoff date you set up in RoomKey will also appear as the cutoff date in your SynXis portal. So again, if your cutoff date in RoomKey is June 1st, when you look at that in your SynXis Enhanced portal, you will see June 1st as the cutoff date. And that's because SynXis is the one that actually triggers that block release. So SynXis will wait until 11:59 p.m. on the day before June 1st, so May 31st. And May 31st at 11:59 p.m., it will automatically release any rooms that are not picked up. And that ensures that that cutoff day for June 1st is held. So a couple more things regarding managing group blocks across these connectivity partners. Of course, vertical booking is not applicable in this case, but I did mention overbooking. So if you have guests that are booking after the cutoff date or after there are no more rooms remaining in the block, a question that I do often get is, can you overbook a group? And the answer for both of these connectivity partners is yes. You can do that in RoomKey using the Enable Overbook feature when you're actually booking the reservation. So if a guest wants to book and the block is full or has already passed the cutoff date, they will need to contact the hotel directly. You'll need to make the booking in RoomKey. You'll use the Enable Overbook tool as you go through and complete the booking, and then that will update the group block in both RoomKey as well as the connectivity partner. So you'll see that reflected on your GDS portal. The last question that I wanted to cover here today is a question that we do get when we talk about packages and groups together is if groups can be booked with a package. So we did talk about how packages may be set up and integrated with these two connectivity partners already today. Now, if your group package has been, if your package has been mapped, I will let you know that in RoomKey, you can set up you can attach a package rate in the groups module in RoomKey, but these connectivity partners do not accept package rates pushed through with a group. So in order to make this work with these two connectivity partners, my answer to whether or not groups can book a package is yes, but. And the but is that you would set up the group as normal in RoomKey. You can attach the package in RoomKey, but that information is not transmitted to your connectivity partner. So you do have to go into your GDS portal and manually edit the group rate price in the portal itself. And then that way, any reservations that are booked through that connectivity partner will be booked at the correct price for the group. And when the reservation is pushed into RoomKey, it'll come through with the correct package rate in that case. So a couple things to keep in mind there, like I said, as you're looking to manage groups, and if you are one of those hotels that does distribute or allow your groups to book packages, we do have a bit of a workaround there as well. So quite a bit of information for us today. I know that this might be a bit overwhelming, especially if you've brand new to any of these connectivity partners. You may be wondering when you can start using these tools. If you are brand new to RoomKey or brand new to one of these connectivity partners, you can certainly get started now. And if you are already using one of our iHotelier standard or SynXis standard interfaces and you'd like to upgrade to the advanced or enhanced products, certainly reach out to our inside sales manager, Margot. Her contact information is listed on this slide and I will include it in my follow-up. So thank you everyone for joining in and taking a look at the two-way GDS interfaces that we've highlighted in today's presentation. I'm going to open up the floor now and see if there's any questions.